Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 6, Swear. So I decided, to talk about this episode because for the most part the character of Tara never gets any love. Neither does Oceanside. Now I know for Women's History Month there are stronger female characters in The Walking Dead that I could talk about, like Maggie, Michonne, Carol. But I decided I'm gonna talk about a character that is for the most part hated in the Walking Dead universe. And sadly, she's hated because the writers let her down. This is the character of Tara, or Tara, I should say. Tara showed up in season, what was it, 4, I believe. And for the most part, she is a main character, but she's kind of a recurring side character for the most part. She's a character who gets really no development and stuff. And sadly, one of the reasons for that is because she's an original character. And she's an original female character. One thing I've noticed about this show is that when they create original female characters, they do absolutely nothing with them. Jacqueline in season 1, Beth in season 2 to 5, Tara in season 4 through whenever her character finally died. I think in season 9 or something like that, or maybe 10. Yeah, season 10, because that's when the Whisperer showed up. And then there's Edith, and Edith showed up in season 6 and lasted to 10. And the thing about Beth, they killed Jacqueline off at the end of season 1. But the thing about Beth, Edith, and Tara is that they created these characters and they kept them on for many, many years to do absolutely nothing. And it's only in the time that they die, that's when they actually finally decided to do something with them. So I decided to give them a little love along with Oceanside. Oceanside was another group, I believe, that was created for the show, not the comic. And they did basically absolutely nothing with them and everything. And this is how they do with all their original characters they create. There's even more that I can't even think of their names right now. But however, the only original character they've ever done anything with of significance is Daryl, who lasted all the way to the end of the series and got his own spinoff series. And it's quite a shame because, they could have done more with these characters, but they don't. And the thing about Tara is that she's a very confusing character. When she first showed up, she was just living with her, her sister and her niece. And they were just living in a house with their grandfather and stuff, and they were trying to avoid the zombie apocalypse, where they met the governor. And then he brought them back to his place, and she didn't know that he was evil. But then he wanted to raid and take over the prison where the heroes live at, and she went along with it. So it's kind of like, oh, so you're a bad girl and everything, right? But then when the fighting started happening and the killing and everything, she realized this is not what she wanted, because she didn't sign up for killing folks. And so she hid. And then that's when Glenn found her, and she became part of their team and everything, the hero team. And then there she just became a recurring background kind of character. There was not much to her personality. There wasn't much to her development. The only thing about her is that she's a lesbian and stuff. And she likes to fist bump people. And so, that's it. Then they killed her lesbian lover off twice in the show. First time in season 4 or 5. I can't remember which one it was. And then later on in season, 6, I think it was, and then she did absolutely nothing again. And then they faked us out with her death when Negan decided to like covered weapons with like walker blood, and then she got shot with an arrow. So it's like, oh, I guess she is gonna die. And then they kept her alive. So I guess, oh, so I guess that didn't work. The other dude died and stuff. And then up into the Whisper arc in season 10, they finally beheaded her and piped her head on a stake. And it's just kind of like they did absolutely nothing with this character. Same with Oceanside, a very interesting group that showed up in this episode, then kind of disappeared towards the end of this season, and then they popped back up in like season probably 8 or 9, and then just to get revenge on Negan's people when Rick wanted them to incorporate into their group, and then they disappeared for the rest of the series until they was mentioned in the last episode of the series finale, which people assumed they had all died because the Commonwealth said they had took them all out, but apparently they're still around. And so the writers, this is when the show really started to suck because the writers just didn't care. All they cared about making like Daryl so cool and like making Rick suffer for like the millionth time. When your lead actor who played Rick has to leave a show, that tells you something right there. And so with this episode, we get the disappearance of Heath. Heath disappeared in this episode, and he ain't never came back. And it's been one of the biggest mysteries of all time. Basically, when the actor left, he left to do his own show that got canceled after 1 season. And then I don't know what happened to him, but I guess he starred in other stuff. And people have always speculated why he never came back. Nobody knows. The writers really let these people down, man. So basically, this episode is about, it's been a couple of weeks since the last season when the Alexandria people, which is Tara's people, went to go kill Negan's people at the satellite outpost. And so Heath has always had problems with this. He never felt comfortable murdering people in cold blood as they slept. But he knows now that these people are evil, but he still grapples with it. And Tara tells him, you know, it's something we had to do. We had to survive. These was bad people. We needed food from the hilltop people. They was only going to give it to us if we took out these major bad guys. It's a win-win situation. But he doesn't see it that way, but he understands. But he still has problems with it. Now, one interesting thing that people, because a lot of people think this is one of the worst episodes ever, but like one of the things people don't realize is that it really brings back a moral lesson to that of Tara's character when she was introduced in season 4, and I'll get into that a little bit later. A lot of people sidestep that. So basically, they've been out on the road for 2 weeks, and they've been looking for supplies to only find nothing. He wants to go back, but she's all like, we can't. We have to find something. We're like running out of food, running out of medical supplies. We can't go back empty-handed. And he's all like, look, a couple more hours, a few more days, and we are heading back. And they ran out of gas, so they're on a bridge. And so as they're starting to search some of the stuff, they see a bunch of sand, and boom, here comes the walkers. And it looks like he abandoned her and got scared and just ran off. So she has to fight him off by herself. And so with the rest of the flashback that's shown later on, it's shown that like he actually did come back for her, and he tried to shoot as many of the zombies as he could, but he ran out of bullets and he got overwhelmed. She got thrown off a bridge by the rest of the walkers. And so she like they just like he just disappeared after that, and she don't know what happened to him. In a way, she ended up in the water, and she ended up near Oceanside. And so this one girl named Cindy, I believe, yes, Cindy, rescued her. And Cindy felt bad for her and gave her water, a fish, and a spear. And so after that, when she woke up, Cindy like left, and Tara saw her. So she followed her back to her hideout. And so she spied on her. And so these people live kind of like in these like beach hut type houses and stuff. And it's a group with nothing but women. And that's it. They're kind of like Amazons, and we don't know why. This is the first time we've ever seen them. There's only one little boy who's there, but he's a teeny tiny little boy playing with the rest of the kids. So as she's spying on them, she realizes something. They have tons of guns hidden out in, like, you know, this one building. All of a sudden, all the people get restless and they start getting all the guns. Well, we can kind of figure out why. If it isn't a zombie, if it isn't bad guys, then they must have found her, and some people start shooting at her. She takes off running, and one of the women, something happens, like her and those two like fight, and then Tara gets like the rifle, but she doesn't kill her, and instead she just knocks her out. And so it doesn't last long because she is eventually captured and stuff, and she's taken to like the head person who's in charge, who is the grandmother of Cindy. And so Cindy's grandmother and everything, you know, she's like questioning her. Now Cindy was originally with a little girl named Rachel, and Rachel wanted to kill Tara just out of the blue, and Cindy would not allow her. And what we find out about these people, because they want Tara to stay because they don't want to let her leave, they live in secret. Basically what happened is that Negan's people found them many years ago when they was living someplace else, and he killed all their men. Because, you know, Negan likes to enslave women and like do stuff with them and make them his own and stuff like that. Well, one night they all just fled and they found Oceanside. And because of that, they do not allow strangers into their camp. If they see a stranger of any kind, male, female, doesn't matter, because Negan has both male and female employers and stuff, they just kill them on sight. But Cindy felt bad for her, and for whatever reason just wanted to like not kill her. It's never explained why. This is one of the bad parts about this episode. Nothing's really truly ever explained with Cindy, who's a very interesting character throughout this episode. And so like, you know, they start questioning Tara about where she's from. She's all like, oh, like I worked on a boat and blah, 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 blah. But they could tell she's lying. And so they tell her, like, look, man, you can live with us. We'll even find your friend Heath, and he can live here too. But you can't go back home because he might tell. Well, anyways, after some talking and you know, and this and that, they realize they're going to just like let her go. They're going to take her back out to where the bridge is at, so she can go back and but promise never to tell. And one of the reasons why they let her live is because she let that one woman live and everything instead of shooting her. Well, as they're heading back to the bridge and everything, there's two like guards with her, and they see a zombie. So Tara's all like, ooh, I'm gonna kill this. So she goes to kill it, but then the two women who are with her try to kill Tara. So that's another chase. And so we knew they were never going to let her just leave because they want that place to stay secret. And the reason why is because Tara told her what they did at the satellite. And so that one woman realized that, you know, it don't matter. Your people are dead back at Alexandria because Negan ain't going to let this just like, you know, roll over and everything. He's gonna come for your people, and then he's gonna come for you, and then he's gonna eventually find us, and blah blah blah. So she like, you know, runs and like she tries to like hide from them, and so but then out of the blue Cindy shows up and takes out one of the guards. And so she rescues Tara. So she heads with Tara back into more in the forest. But then she pulls the rifle on Tara. Now this is the part that's confusing. Why in the world would she save Tara twice only to put a bullet in her? And Tara even tells her, hey, look, man, you ain't gonna kill me because you rescued me twice. And so the girl's all like, you know, I'll only like take you as far as the bridge, make sure you're safe, but then you have to swear, which is of course the title of the episode, that you will never, ever, ever tell anybody like, you know, about this place. And Tara's all like, why would I tell anybody? And she's all like, because you could probably benefit for something from here. And because that's true. Tara realizes that one, they need food, they need medical supplies, they need this and that, and that's why Tara and Heath were out on their mission. Also, she knows that it's tons of people living there who are willing to fight for their survival and fight for their secrecy, and they have tons of guns, which the people of Alexandria and Hilltop and the kingdom can use to take on Negan's people. Because Tara knows what these people... Well, no, Tara doesn't really know what happened to Glenn and all them other people, because she had to hightail it before then. And stuff. And the reason why she had to hightail it is because the actress became pregnant. And so this is now after she had her baby, and she still has a little bit of her baby weight and stuff. And so, like, Cindy tells her straight up is that, like, you know, you keep saying you had to kill Negan's people, but she's all like, you didn't have to do it. You just did it and everything. And you did it because you felt like you had to do it. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes back to full circle from her first appearance in season 4. When she aligned herself with the governor, they had, like, you know, their own home, you know, but they left their home once their grandfather died. Then he went back to Woodsboro and stuff. Woodsbury, or whatever it's called. I'm getting that mixed up with the screenplays. And so, where Sydney lives at. He had that because he retook back his place, but he wanted a bigger, better place. He wanted the prison, and he wanted to get revenge on the good people on the show. And so then he told them people, hey, look, man, we know we have some strong walls, some strong fences, and we're going to take the prison from these people. And she went along with it because she felt like, hey, that's what they need to do to survive. And so now she realizes that huge mistake she made many seasons ago. And so after fighting a couple of zombies off and everything, that one girl sees her off, and then she goes back looking for Heath. She finds tire tracks, and then it leads her to a town. In that town, it's like a little store with like sunglasses, this and that. She doesn't really find no supplies, but she finally heads back to Alexandria, walking back with sunglasses. When she sees Eugene, he cries, letting us know that she now knows what happened to her girlfriend, Denise, that she died and everything. And so, like, she's sad and she's wallowing, and Rosita's all like, we can end this right here, right now. If you know anything, any, like, you know, weapons, people, there has been something out there you could have found. And so she kept her promise, and she kept Oceanside hidden and everything, which she probably should have told them, because, you know, they could have used all their supplies to take on Negan and his people, which eventually they do towards the end of either this season or next. Because she finally decides she's gonna go back on Oceanside herself and recruit those people. And after that, like I said before, Oceanside really don't do nothing in the rest of the series and stuff. It's like they are completely forgotten about. And it's quite a shame, because they could have been a really interesting group, or they could have spun off something. Like, we could have saw how it all went down, or just like something, you know. But I hate when the writers let these characters down. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it's not every day that, like, you know, your main character, who's technically a recurring character, who's technically a side character, who gets no development, gets like time to shine. This was really her only solo episode, really, because, like, you know, when she first appeared, she appeared with like her family, and she didn't do nothing there either. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.